Hello, my name is Thandile Mayekiso, and welcome back to the Destination Show. You are tuned in on this episode of just me and my mission experiences. Well, I did serve my mission in the Kenya Nairobi mission. I will go specific into specifics on, specific experiences, and just me actually going through my journal with you guys. But for now, I just want to touch base on the fact that why did I actually go and serve a mission? I'm looking for my scriptures actually because one of the reasons why I wanted to go serve a mission is a scripture that I actually learned. It's in the book of Mormon. It's in James chapter 2, verse 19. Yeah, I might be mistaken, hence I want my scriptures to be around. So let me quickly do that. Um, book of Mormon, Jacob. I'm already mistaken there. It's Jacob chapter 1. I think I know this one now. Yes, it's Jacob chapter 1, verse 9. Jacob chapter 1, verse 19. And it says, "And we did magnify our office unto the Lord, taking upon us the responsibility, answering the sins of the world upon our own heads, if we did not teach them the word of God with all diligence. Wherefore, by laboring with our might, their blood might not come upon our garments. Otherwise, their blood would come upon our garments, and we would not be found spotless at the last day." So, for me, this verse actually taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about responsibility that we have as fellow human beings. The responsibility we have to teach and help one another understand God's will and His purposes. And for me, that was enough for me to say, okay, I want to go and serve a mission. Now, prior to me, in fact, understanding this is the fact that we all met in the previous life, and we all decided we will come here on earth and will then be able to meet and have all these experiences. But part of those things is we actually made covenants that will meet specific people in certain places and will do certain things. And so for me, part of this is the fact that my responsibility is to teach, obviously, but more importantly, I actually made covenants with the people that I'll meet on my mission, and I'll help them receive the gospel. Okay. Now, I know many people will have questions concerning what I'm saying. Um, I believe in this strongly because we are all ordained before we come here on earth, just like we learn in the Old Testament. Before I formed the in the belly, I knew thee, and I glorified thee. And so, before we even come here on earth, Heavenly Father is already have a plan for us. And I believe strongly that we we make covenants, and we come here on earth, and then we see if we will keep to those covenants. And so that's part of our experience here on earth. Now, for me, that was enough for me to say, okay, I want to do my part in helping God's children come closer to Him. So I will go and serve a mission. And so that's what I did. I prepared. I prepared for my mission. My family was totally against it. In fact, not my family, my mother specifically was totally against it. She wanted me to go to university and study and further my education, and so she was not having it. And I was like, "Mommy, I want to go serve a mission." And so, what really helped in convincing her was actually my aunt. My aunt was like, "Look around you. His peers, are busy making babies. His peers are busy on drugs, alcohol. You've never heard of any scandals from him. So why don't you just let the child go and do the Lord's work? He's not going to party. He's going to do the Lord's work." Now, mind you, my none of my family members are members of the church, but my aunt just coming through for me at that moment of time was golden. And my mother called me, like, you know what, you can go to this mission of yours. So I sent in my papers. And from someone who didn't want me to go, she actually became my number one supporter, supported me on my mail, because when you go and serve a mission, you this is a volunteer. You volunteer to go serve a mission. No one forces you to go serve a mission. And my mother supported me 100%. She took care of my medical bills, because I had to go get my teeth checked, and as well as do physical checks, X-rays, all those things, and she paid for all of that, even immunizations, and so that was really golden for me. So she became my number one supporter, and even financially, even when I was on mission, because like I said, you volunteer, so if you have to pay for your own meals, your own experiences there. So she was able to help as well financially on that part as well. Every month she would donate money to the church so that it can come to me on my mission. And so that was really wonderful for me. So I was able to pay for my whole mission. Now, um, something that really bothered me is that when I got to Kenya, I met a lot of people, amazing people, and the sad part is that the poverty there is something that I actually had never experienced nor had never seen before. People that are so hungry and destitute for nutrition, and that you can even see their bone from flesh. That was really painful for me. And mind you, I had just arrived, but prior to me getting on my mission, actually, I'm jumping steps now. Whoop! One thing that I actually enjoyed and I did is that I worked a lot with the missionaries, the full-time missionaries that were here. Every day I was working with them, and I was helping them teach and testify to many people that they taught. For me, that gave me a lot of experience in teaching people and how to react to people's questions, how to teach in sequences, because as missionaries, you have a companion, and so you have to be in sync with your companion. So those elders would actually come to my house right here on this room that I'm in right now, and we would daily plan and weekly plan with the missionaries. Now, a weekly plan is done by missionaries only, but I was so involved in their work that they would come to my house, bring pizza, and we would weekly plan, daily plan, all those things. So that was really amazing. So that gave me a lot of experience in actually planning, and how to plan, how to discuss about people's needs, and how to teach people according to their needs. So for me, that was very monumental. And then I sent in my papers, as I said. I received my mission call. After I received my mission call, oh boy, the temptations that came, man. I remember the missionaries were teaching this lady this one time, and she was a beautiful girl, right? Dark chocolate, and went to her house. We started teaching her. I got attracted to her. I was like, oh man, I think beautiful, And and what then happened was we started talking. We exchanged numbers, because part of part of my responsibility was to make sure that whenever investigators or people that were taught by missionaries come to church, I needed to make sure that they were comfortable and they knew what was going on, how to read the hymn book, take them to classes, introduce them to people. So that was my responsibility. And I wasn't even offered that, by the way. It's something that I was just, in me. I liked doing that. I liked making sure that people are comfortable when they come to church. And so we exchanged numbers for this basis, that I was to direct her to church, and then I was gonna welcome her when she comes to church, or even pick her up you know. Um, and so that was done, and we start talking, right? And now remember, I've already got my mission call, and I had been warned by the missionaries that this is the time where you will actually be tested, whether you are ready for a mission or not. Satan will test and tempt you, and boy, did he do that. I'm already attracted to this girl. She's now asking me questions, like really interesting questions, like who do I live with? Well, when are the times where I'm alone in the house? So these are specific questions. And I'm like, man, where are these questions coming from? Where are they going? And well, this one time she straight out told me, hey, I want to come over. I was like, oh no. I was like, well, you do know that we're not allowed to have sex, right? I was like, no, I just want to come, won't do anything. But even if we do, there's nothing wrong with that. No one will know. I was like, oh, snap. I need to get the missionaries. And she went on a personal rampage telling me how she's addicted to sex and how she hadn't got some, in a long time. And so she wanted me to help her with her needs. I was like, dang, so this is serious. I called the missionaries. I was like, elders, you need to teach this girl about the law of chastity because nah, bruh, I'm not gonna deal with this. But this is when I knew, like, you know what, I was actually strong because I was attracted to her. I could have or would have easily, went down on that rapping page, and do stuff. But I was like, no, I wanna go serve a mission, and that's not nothing is gonna stop me from doing that. And I actually told myself I'm not gonna go on mission while dating or leaving someone behind. I'll still get to that part, right? Because I think I had like 4 months to prepare because I got my mission call in November, but I left in March. So December, January, February, March. That's 4 months of me waiting. That's 4 months of me being tempted, bruh. So the next day, we go and teach this girl this law of chastity lesson. And boy, she knew that it was me who had snitched on her. And so she was definitely not happy. She was not engaged in the lesson. And I was like, I understand, but hey, I'm not doing that with you, bruh. And so we teach her. She never actually came to church. Um, she was never baptized. I'm not gonna say it's my fault because I had to do what I had to do. Okay, um, and she was gonna be taught that lesson anyways. You know what I mean? That lesson was gonna come anyways, but I guess it was bad timing. I guess I don't know. But we leave, so that's out of the way. And then what then happens was we had a steak activity. Oh my goodness, this is when I was like, okay, I'm gonna die right now. So they have this steak activity, and they bring like the neighboring towns. So from I'm in East London, I'm in Tanzania, they bring in girls. Well, let me not say girls. They bring in people from East London, Tata, Linge, Queenstown, Sada, um, King Williamstown, and we are all here on this activity. And it was nice, man. It was nice. I met a lot of beautiful people. I then got attracted to a lot of beautiful girls, and so that was another test for me, because remember I had told myself I'm not gonna date so that I don't get distracted while I'm on mission, and so I just make these friends. I make friends with a couple of girls, and we. It's like a boys thing because all my friends, we decided, what, we're gonna, chase the girls that we're interested in, and we were all preparing for missions, by the way. And so we decided, what, yeah, 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 let's date, man, let's date. We can't live on mission without dating. And so at least we need to have people that are gonna email us while we're on mission. So that was our mindset. But we had a lot of fun and met a lot of beautiful people, exchanged numbers, and then we started talking over the phone. And that's when I got introduced to another region that I hadn't gone to in Tanzania, which is, we used to call them the cheese boys or the cheese girls, because that's where the rich people normally are. And so girls, we would call them the girls over our standards, because we were broke. Even if we decided to date these people, we can't even take them on a date. Um, but I learned that, what, members of the church are very humble people. Doesn't matter the background they come from, they are very humble people, and that's what I learned. And I became friends with some of them. I became friends with the same group of girls that initially, um, there's a girl that I actually met prior to me becoming a member of the church that I had interest in. I asked her out, and she was like, "Nope, we can be friends." And then I later on understood that she told herself that she was not gonna date a non-member or someone who's not a member of the church. And so for me, that got me attracted to her, because she had principles and standards that she was not willing to break for anyone. And so I was like, you know what, I want a girl like that. Um, so yeah, later on we became friends. We were going to school together, so we became friends. And then so that bond became stronger. And then I was friends with her friends, and one of her friends was the girl that I was interested in. And so I started teaching her because she was still being taught, I think. She was right about to become a member of the church, yeah. And so I taught her a couple of lessons, and then she was baptized, and then that bond became stronger. And she even like got me a package for my mission, so that I can remember her, all these things. But we're not dating. We kept it strictly friendship. Um, but I think she knew that I was interested in her. I think so. I don't know. Anyways, that's story number one. Then number two, there was this girl that I was actually dating that I had actually broken up with, and I get my mission call, and then later on we become friends again. We mend our ways. We're like, okay, we're not gonna date, but we'll be friends. And so we start becoming friends, and then out of nowhere, I was like, what, let me take you out on a date. So I broke my own covenant to not date before mission. So we started dating. And right before I left, I had a meeting with her. I was like, hey, I'm going to live for 2 years, bruh. And before I could even say anything, she was like, nope, I'm going to wait for you. I was like, okay. And she had mentioned that, her mom liked me a lot, and her mom told her that, what, if you lose this boy, you are losing gold. So don't do any stupid things. And so she made the decision to wait for me, I guess. Um, then I go on my mission. Went to Joburg on the 23rd of March. Went to Joburg at my missionary training center that was in Joburg. And then I was there for 3 weeks. Met some wonderful guys there that were also preparing to go for their missions. Some are going to Madagascar, some are going to Zimbabwe, Uganda, Kenya. So there was two of us going to Kenya. I can't remember the other ones. But people from all over the world: Tonga, Hawaii, USA, Uganda, no, Zambia. Did you have a Zimbabwean? I don't think so. Yeah, we did. We did have a girl from Zimbabwe that was going to Uganda. Yeah, those girls were nice, and all the guys as well. They were good people. Um, and then after the 3 weeks, I went to my Kenya mission. On my first day, we arrived, and I had these preconceived notions of Kenya that, it's like bush. They live in huts. Because I did some research about the place, but I saw like the Maasais, and the Maasais are bush people, you know. And so I was like, dang, I'm gonna be teaching these people that jump high, and yeah, it was just a crazy experience, man. But then as we were about to land, I was like, wait, they got tall buildings? Oh, what was I looking at? Why did I see the pictures that I saw? This type of picture. Kenya, by the way, is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. Very developing there. And so, dang. So this is what happened. I arrived. Now Kenya is different from South Africa. They got soldiers everywhere there, right? And so we land in Kenya. They check my stuff. I'm all good to go. So they ask me, because they see my visa that I'm supposed to be here as a missionary, and so they ask me, "How long are you going to stay?" And I tell them 2 years. And do they not stamp 2 weeks? Do they not stamp that I was gonna stay for 2 weeks, bro? Bro. So I didn't know this. I thought I was good. We went past, and then I met with my mission president for the first time, and apparently the president then, Uhuru Kenyatta, was gonna drive by, and so whenever Uhuru is around, everything stops. Soldiers everywhere, and so I didn't know we're going down, and man, a soldier points a gun right on my face. I was like, oh no. And then my mission president came to like you know tell them like who I was and what was going on. I was new to the place, so I don't understand, right? And so I am taken to this place that is secluded, and then we wait there. I was like, dang, I almost died, and I even started my mission. That was crazy, bro. That was crazy. So then we go to the mission home. Oh, their houses. By the way, there was like a zebra on the side of the road, bro. A zebra, not fenced. It wasn't, bro. I was like, this is insane. And so I was like, man, so we might actually be having a lion. And right as I thought of that, the mission president tells me, oh, by the way, back in the days, they used to have like two lions that would roam around and kill a ton of people. That those lions had escaped from a resort or something like that. I was like, oh my goodness. At least I know that okay, the lions are well secured. And so we arrived, man. The place is beautiful, man. They got suburbs, they got townships, and they got shacks as well. I'm not gonna lie. There are certain places that are dirty, um, but overall the place is beautiful. I arrive in the mission home. I get introduced to other missionaries. I see other South Africans. Like, okay, cool, cool beans. I must say, I wasn't, you know, interested in being close to South Africans on my mission. To be honest with you, ah, cheese boys, man. People from cheese boys, man. Cheese boys, man. Oh my goodness. It's like those guys that speak like this, like yeah, mate. What you doing tomorrow, mate? No, I'm gonna eat cheese and burger. Nah, I'm not that guy, man. I'm a township boy. I'm a rough rider. So I chilled a lot with like Zimbabweans actually. Zimbabweans and Congolese I chilled a lot with, even Ugandans, obviously Americans. But South Africans, I was close to the South African ladies more than the guys. Yeah, man, they were cheese boys, man. Anyways, um, so yeah, we enter the mission home. I meet these guys, and I hear this story like, oh, there was missionaries that were raided. Their apartment was raided, and they killed a security guard. And I was like, oh, dang! So we actually not safe here. Um, and so they took the missionaries' money, but they didn't hurt them. They killed the security guard, but they didn't kill the missionaries. They just robbed them, took money and phones, and they went away. And so I was like, dang. This is my first day and I'm hearing this story. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna survive in this place, right? Now I become cheese now myself, you know. This roughness of mine went away, bruh. I was like, oh, am I gonna survive here? And then, so it's fine. Uh, Later on, Sister Msane, the mission president's wife, comes to me and asks me, how long did you tell them at the airport that you're gonna be here for? And I told them, oh, for 2 years. Like, well, you'll be here for two weeks. I was like, wait, what? Like, yeah, they stamped you for 2 weeks, so you need to go to the immigration center to get that sorted out. But don't worry, you'll go there tomorrow. I was like, dang, okay. And then what else happened? And then another missionary comes in, broken ankle. I was like, what is going on in this place? This is still the first day, by the way. And then you hear the story, man. Like he had like 5 girlfriends that he left back home, and he had been on mission for like 9 months or a year or something like that. And he found out in the morning that all those girls that were waiting for him all got engaged in the same week. So back then, missionaries used to only talk to family and people back home on Mondays and via emails only, no phone calls. And so prior to that, to me coming, or this Monday, because I arrived on a Monday, am I right? Yeah, I arrived on a Monday. So prior to me coming that week, he all the ladies like on maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all of them got engaged that week. And so the Monday I was arriving, he got an email from all of them. And so to like wash away the stress, he forced everyone to go play soccer, and he hurt his ankle and had to go back home to for surgery. And so he was going back home to witness all his girlfriends, ex girlfriends getting married. I was like, bro, that is terrible. Oh my goodness, that is so terrible. I was like, sucks to be you, bruh. Sucks to be you. And so then the next thing that happened was, so when I got this news, now this story is the butler story, and the guy with the ankle came right before I got the news that my thing was gonna be only valid for 2 weeks. And then they like made fun of me. All right, you'll be a missionary for 2 weeks. Why do we missionaries for 2 years? And because I witnessed all of this, I was like, dang, I'm not staying here, bro. I don't care. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. So if I don't have to stay here for this long, I'm fine with that, bro. I'll be fine in Joburg. And at the time, it was only me and another brother of mine, Kwanele, who's a friend of mine, but he's my brother. He only me and him had got mission calls. He also left in March, but he left like early March on the 3rd of March, and I left on the 23rd of March. And so there was 3 weeks in between us leaving. So he was in Joburg and I was in Kenya. So I was like, I'm fine going to my friend and serving a mission with him. I'm not. I don't want to be here. Anyways, I stay. I went and prayed that night. Got some comfort that hey, your mother when before you left said, don't come back before the time they said you need to come back. So I'm not expecting you to come back early. I'm expecting you to finish what you started. And so my mother was a rock, man. So I toughened it out. I stayed, and then the next day we got our training. You know, getting your why you serving a mission, why the Lord needs you on the mission, all these things. And then after that training, I then took the guy that I came with. He's also from South Africa, Joburg. He was actually cool. He was not a cheese boy, and so because now we had a delay. There was no, in fact, there was no delay. There were no buses for me to go in my area, and so they were still looking for buses. And so they're like, well, if you guys don't have anything going on, you can accompany the other guys as they take these ones to their area. And so that's what we did. We play. Oh man, and as I looked around, bro, man, the poverty, bro, the dirt, the dust, like the people seeing their bones on their skin. That was terrible for me. That really destroyed me emotionally. I won't lie. And so we came back. I was like asking myself, am I gonna survive here? Am I gonna survive looking at this poverty? And so then we went back. Like, no, there's no buses for you. I'm like, I'm fine. I just want to go home. Please tell me that the only flight or the only traveling that is happening is back to South Africa. I'm already staying here for 2 weeks. Um, and oh, when we came back, actually, they then took me to the immigration center, and so that was sorted out. I was like, dang, there's no leaving for me. And so they're like, no, we'll book you guys a flight. And so we flew to Mombasa. My area was Mombasa, my first area. An island, bro. I got to live in an island in Mombasa. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. Pure Swahili, they speak there. The people were nice. The same conditions were there, but I think they were better there, um, because we are in a tourist location. So I enjoyed it there, and I actually stayed there for only what 6 weeks, yeah. Because I was trained by a zone leader, which was unprecedented back then. Because a zone leader is companions with another zone leader. A zone leader doesn't do trainings, but I got to be trained by a zone leader. Um, I enjoyed that place, man. It was just unfortunate that it was only for 6 weeks because I really enjoyed it and the people actually liked me there. Um, and then I went to Zimmerman. After my 6 weeks, I went to Zimmerman in Nairobi. Beautiful, beautiful place. That's actually where I felt home. So I got people there that actually served where I'm from, and so that was nice for me to see people that spoke English. So it was nice, man. It was nice. I actually enjoyed it. I finished my training there in Zimmerman. Should I mention my companions? Yeah, let's see if I still mention. I remember my companions. So my first companion was Elder S. Timer. S. Timer from Ohio or something. I think it was Idaho or Ohio, somewhere there. In between those two places, that's where he was from. And then I then got Fraga after the 6 weeks. I got with Fraga, who finished my training, and Fraga's from Utah. And then after that, we were whitewashed, so we left the area, both of us. So they brought in sisters, um, and so then I went to Kitale. So I stayed my first area 6 weeks, and then my second area 6 weeks, and then I went to Kitale, and that's where I stayed for 9 months. My favorite area. I like I liked all these places, but Kitale, bro, I stayed there for 9 months, and I felt home. And I was looking over two areas there. It was Kitale and Sikendu. Am I right? No, no, no. Sikendu was over other missionaries. I'll have to check my planner. It was Kitale and what? But it was a place between Kitale and Sikendu. So I had those two areas. Um, Amazing people, both amazing people, and that's where actually I had my experience of speaking Swahili, being governed by the spirit. The spirit literally took over because we were teaching a guy that only spoke Swahili, and I only knew like the greetings, habari yako, mzuri sana, utuko pamoja, uko salama. So I only knew like the greetings, right? Those are the greetings that I just mentioned now. But and we no one that we used to teach with was available. And I was like, I'm not gonna drop this lesson. We have a Swahili pamphlet. We'll teach using the Swahili pamphlet. Got to the lesson, opened with the word of prayer, and it was Swahili non-stop. I was translating for my companion actually, but let me backtrack. So that was amazing that that happened for me. So in Kitale, in this other place, I I got to, what did I do? Oh, I was companions with Elder. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Can't remember my third companion now. Uh, but I know I remember that my fourth companion was Elder Mers, and Elder Mers is the one that actually experienced the burglary. Um, and yeah, and there was a day we someone actually tried to steal our bikes outside the house, and he got flashbacks of what happened to him. So I had to step up and be the bigger boy and go check out those what's going on outside. And those guys had fled. They attempted to, but there was just no way. It was like high fenced area. We lived in the suburbs, and so they were just unable to. And we also might have been hearing things because there was a cat that actually used to be on the roof. So in my mind, in fact, I know there was no one that attempted to get in, but because he was spooked out, I had to step up. Elder Christensen was my third companion. Elder Christensen, yes. How can I forget my boy? Um, so yes, so that was unfortunate. But yeah, Elder Mers was awesome. And after Elder Mers, so I stayed with Elder Christensen, who was my third companion for 3 months, and then I got Mers for only me and Elder Mers actually were locked in along with other missionaries during that time because this is when there was elections in Kenya. That was 27, no, 2018. Yeah. So there were elections, and so we had to stay inside. Either late 2017 or early 2019. No, 2018. Yeah. Can't remember when the elections were because at this point, I was already 7 weeks on mission. Nah, 7 months. But you know what? Let me not even try to think of the months. When I was with Elder Mers, that's when we experienced the lockdown. And so we were locked in for like 11 days. We could not go out, we could not go shopping. So we did a lot of shopping prior to that. Um, but yeah, that was an amazing time that has its own stories that I'll get into in a later video. Um, right now, just touching base on like specific my companions, specific areas, things I remember specifically. But with regards to now my mission experience, the areas themselves, I've documented those on my journal. So I'll go through my journals and then shoot videos specifically on how my mission was. Um, right now, this is like a totality of what happened on my mission. So after Mers, can't remember if I stayed for 6 weeks with Mers or 3 months, but I think it was 6 weeks. Yeah, it was 6 weeks, me and Mers. And then I trained my first trainer. I got my first trainee actually. I got my first trainee, which was Elder. Um, oh man, how can I forget this boy? Okay, I'll think of his name. But I got my first training then, and amazing. It's very challenging though. I was a naughty boy, man. I was a very naughty boy. I want to grab my pamphlets because my pamphlets will actually help me in remembering who my companions were because I wrote all those things down, right? But I want to see, I want to test myself. Okay, so these were my companions on mission. I had Elder Estimer, Fraga, Christensen, Mers, after let me not crack my head, man. Let me not crack my head, because if I try to crack my head, it's gonna be terrible for me. So these are all my mission planners. 16 of them, is 16 or 17? I think 17, yeah. I got all of them here. Um, and I would actually write some stuff. Yeah, I think I want to do this on this video. Yeah, 17, because this is my last one. Okay. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read like the stuff that I used to write outside my pamphlets, because I used to after every transfer, I would have a new pamphlet, a planner, and so I would write what is motivating me during that transfer, and the transfer is every 6 weeks. Okay, so when I talk of transfers, I'm talking every 6 weeks. Okay, so my first planner. This is my first planner. On my first planner, I wrote, as you keep moving forward, you can stay upright even when outside forces try to pull you down. And did not just explain what was going on my mission. In fact, let me do this planner thing later on, right? Yeah, let me finish my me touching base on my mission, because now I'm gonna get distracted, because this is something else. And while I'm talking, actually, I'm gonna just put these in chronological order, so that I don't miss out on any dates and stuff. So this is actually fun thing that I'm doing right now, and I'm happy that I've actually thought of it. So yeah, that's what we are going to do. But after I got my trainee, so this was my 5th transfer, right? Yes. So let me see who my company. No, so this is Murs, and then on my Elder Pratt. Elder Pratt was my trainee, and we stayed for 3 months. Me and him stayed for 3 months. It was fun, man. It was amazing. Um, yeah, got to train, got to teach someone how to be a missionary, how to conduct themselves, how to behave on mission, how to be a successful missionary. Because I was somewhat a successful missionary myself. I was super obedient, and I expected every companion of mine to be likewise. Okay, and so that was my motivation, and I stick by it even to this day. When it comes to the mission field, I don't play around. Okay, I do not play around. And so after my 3 months with Elder Pratt, I then moved back to Nairobi. So I had finished my 9 months, because I stayed 3 months with Christensen, 6 weeks with Mers, and then 3 months with Christensen. We actually stayed longer. Wait, I might be mistaken. Let me check my third and fourth. My third and fourth should be Christensen. Yes, Elder Christensen. So yes, I'm right. We were over Sikendo. It was Kitale and Sikendo. So yes, me and Christensen only stayed for 3 months, and then Mers for only 6 weeks. And then I think it was Pratt that I stayed longer with. It was 4.5 months. Yeah, it was 4.5 months that I stayed with Pratt. Because as I'm looking at my planners now, I have Pratt for 2. And then let me check my eighth one. Yes, so me and Pratt stayed for 4.5 months. So that makes 9 months. Because Christensen 3 months, Mers 6 weeks, and then Pratt 4.5 months. So that makes 8 months, 9 months. 9 months of the best time of my life, to tell you the truth. I loved that area, and I enjoyed every bit of it. Some people will say, staying 8 months in one area, that's way too, that's rough. Not for me. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I had no problems with it actually. And so yeah, I enjoyed every bit of it. And then I got to be in a trio. I got to be in a trio after the 9 months, because I went and served in, um, don't remind me, planner, don't remind me. I went to and back to Nairobi for another 6 weeks. I went to Nairobi. So I went to Zimmerman, Lucky Summer. That's where I went. I went to Lucky Summer, and I was there. Lucky Summer 2. I was there with Elder Batas and Elder Motezezade, both from Utah. Yeah, both from Utah. Christian scene. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna even try to remember where they are from. But I stayed with those guys. We in a trio for 6 weeks, and then best time of my life. That trio was the most obedient, most focused. We knew, like, we gelled, and many people used to say that, being in a trio is terrible. Not for us. For us, we enjoyed it. We worked well together, and we were one. And funny enough, I was actually, and it makes a lot of sense, in the positions that I now have in the church. That's where I got a lot of leadership training, because those guys would be so indecisive and they would make me do the decisions. And whatever decision I made, no one was gonna go above it. So I was once I put my gavel down, that's doctrine to them, at least. Um, Let me tell you this one story. So when I stayed with them, we were also staying with another companionship, and it was actually Elder. Um, he was a guy from Queenstown. Um, there was a guy from Queenstown that was being trained, and he spoke Xhosa, and me and him had a lot in common. And he was actually in the activity that I talked about prior to me leaving, where it had all the girls from all over the place, people, wise, young single adults from all over the place. He was actually one of those guys from Queenstown. That's where I met him, and and man, it was so nice. It was so nice to meet someone that spoke like me, um, knew what I wanted to say. Um, let me think of his name now. I'm actually gonna go through. I know his first name, but I don't want to mention his first name. I want his last name. Um, dang, dang. How can I? Because I know it's not gonna be in my planners because it was never my companion. Um, but funny enough, he was actually companions with Christensen, who was previously my companion. You know what? I'll think of his name. Enisile, that's his name. Elder Enisile. So he was from Queenstown, a closer boy like me, and so this one time, right? So what we used to do was we would have zone meetings, um, and then district meetings, right? Now, a district is more like areas around, uh, East London. So that would be a zone. Oh, no, no, no. Danshane would be a zone, right? So from unit 1 to unit 18, that's a zone. And then you'd have districts. Now, districts would be only the missionaries that are in this certain vicinity. That would be from unit 1 to unit 4. That would be zone 1, or district 1, I mean. And so in our district, which was led by Christensen, who was our district leader, um, so we had our own zone, our district, and so it was us, the five of us, because it's my trio and his companion Elder Penisile, and then we had two sisters, right? So that was our district, and so every Monday, or every other Monday, we would go to zone activities and would have our own district activities on a Monday. And so this one time we had a district meeting activity on that certain Monday. Now, this Monday, we were supposed to go to the zone activity, which actually had soccer, which happens to be Qinisile's favorite sport, by the way. And so we're having this meeting, like, what are we doing today? Cleaning, all these things. So I was like, no, guys, we're going to clean. And then after we clean, we'll go to the zone activity. And Elder Christensen is like, no, we'll have a district activity again. And Kenisele had been talking and rambling, because I think it was his first activity, if I'm not mistaken, because he was new on mission, he was being trained. And so I kind of became his defender. He had been talking about playing soccer, right? And there his companion talks about, no, we'll have a district activity. I was like, no, we just had a district activity. It's a zone activity today, and that's where we're going. Mind you, he's not my companion. He makes decisions for his companionship. I make decisions with my companions. Me and my companions decide what we will do. But because we're one, we would all then do these things together. And so he was like, no, district activity. I was like, no, zone activity. And so it was this back and forth. And I was like, Motezezade, you like playing soccer. Let's go play soccer. And that guy was so indecisive, man. Butters wanted, because Butters and Christensen were best friends. And me and Kenisile were best friends at this point. Motezezade was the one in between. So it was three boys, three white boys, two black guys. But I was like, nope. In fact, Motezezade is Iranian, so he's Middle Eastern. He's not white. Because I know if he sees this, he's like, Elder Mayekiso, I'm not white. Anyways, so he was the man that was supposed to be the decision breaker, right, or the middleman. But he was like, no, I'll go with whatever you guys decide. And I'm like, we are indecisive already. They want to go. We want to go play soccer. They want to go play frisbee. We want to go play soccer. It's a zone activity day. The zone is meeting together today. Come on, bruh. And I was like, no, you guys make the decision. I'll just do it. All right, okay. I see what's going on here. So this is what's gonna happen. Now mind you, Christensen is the district leader. And I'm like, you know what? All right, if you guys are not gonna go to the zone activity, we are all staying here and we are all gonna clean the house. And that's what's gonna happen today. We're gonna clean the house, we go email, and that's it. We are done. No more conversation about this. I'm done. Because you guys are unfair. Penicillin has been talking about soccer all week, and you are telling me that we go to a district meeting, a district activity, go play frisbee that we played last week. That's your sport. We want to play our sport this week. And I was it. I went to my room, and then Butters tried to talk me out of it. I was like, no, you talk to your friend. We're having a zone activity today. Don't come and want to convert me. This thing you guys are doing to Clinicity is bad. You're teaching him a bad lesson. Right? And I was mad, bro. I was so mad. And so then they came back. I was like, no, it's fine. We'll go to the zone activity. I was like, thank you. And man, these guys, after the zone activity, we had so much fun. I'm like, come on, bruh. Come on. You didn't want to go to the activity. Now you had fun. Okay, cool. And so I enjoyed being Penicidia's defender, to be honest with you. And he was like, damn. So I need to. I was like, yes, you need to be firm. You need to talk your truth. If you want something, you must say it. You can't be quiet and like make people make your decisions for you. No, you make your own decisions and what you want to do. And so I was like, all right, thank you, man. And so man, but anyways, living with those guys was amazing, was fun because I had my best friend. We were all like gelling together. Um, but unfortunately, I was transferred after that 6 weeks, and I went and I was companions with Elder. I became companions with who? Who did I become companions with? Elder Card. I would not actually remember him actually. No offense to him, but I would not remember that name. Elder Card. Yeah, yeah, he was my companion. Yeah. So, anyways, and Elder Card was the only companion that I had that was not from the USA. He was Canadian. All my companions were all American, from the USA. Only him was from Canada. Anyways, so we had fun. We stayed for 6 weeks as well, and then he got transferred away. I got transferred to Mlolongo, which was my longest serving area. That's where I stayed for 10.5 months. You heard me right. I stayed there for 10.5 months in Mlolongo. It's a place that had prostitutes all over the place. It's a place that was filled with alcohol, drugs, sketchy crime, and so that place was terrible, which became my favorite. I know I've been saying every area I went to was my favorite. That's the unfortunate thing about me serving in these areas, that I loved them all, actually. Mlolongo became my favorite. The people there were nice. We got chased a couple of times by prostitutes because they wanted, you know, I'm not gonna say it. We got chased a couple of times. I stayed there for 10.5 months, man. I trained there twice. I was companions there with Elder Cart, who was my first companion there, and then he was transferred away, and then I trained Elder Saline, and me and Elder Saline stayed for 3 months. After that 3 months, Saline left, and I got Elder, what's his name? Who did I get after him? Elder Fuller. I got Elder Fuller after my training, and me and Fuller stayed for 3 months again. And I must say, it's the first time that I actually experienced depression. I'm not gonna speak bad about Elder Fuller, but it's the only time that I was on mission and I experienced depression. I experienced missing home. After that first 2 days, me getting on my mission. After that, I was free rolling, man. I did not miss home. I did not get any anxiety. I was okay throughout my mission because I was focused on the work. But man, that guy did not want to work. Story for another video, okay? But after that 3 months, I then trained again. And I trained Elder Lemon, amazing guy from Las Vegas. And my last area, I went back to Lucky Summer to finish someone's training. And that someone was Elder Harrop. So yeah, that was my companions on mission. Let me see now if I can name them in chronological order without looking. So first area, Mombasa, I had Elder, really now, this is the only companion that I don't struggle mentioning, but because I'm having a brain fart right now, Elder S. Timer. So I was companion with Elder S. Timer in Mombasa, and then I went to Zimmerman. I was companions with Elder Fraga, and then went to Kitale for 9 months, and then I served there for 3 months with Elder Christensen, 6 weeks with Elder Mers, 4.5 months with Elder Pratt, and then I was transferred away to Nairobi again, but this time around Lucky Summer, and that's where I served with Elder Batas and Elder Motezezade. And after that 6 weeks, I went and served in Lolongo with Elder Card for 6 weeks. And after Elder Card, I trained Elder Saline for 3 months. And after Saline, I got Elder Fuller for 3 months. And then I trained again Elder Lemon for 3 months. And then I went back to Lucky Summer to finish my mission, which was my 17th transfer, and I finished it with Elder Harrop for 6 weeks. So my mission was full of 6 weeks and 10.5 months, 9 months. Yeah, that was my mission. I enjoyed my time. I had a lot of experiences. I met a lot of beautiful people, and to this day, I still say the people of Kenya are so much better than South Africans, and that might be because of the poverty there. I don't know, but the people there are humble, welcoming to strangers, and ready to talk and conversate. And so I enjoyed my time there. Best mission of my life, best time of my life. Got my training there, and even mentions it actually in my patriarchal blessing that my experience and the work that I do on my mission would prepare me for my after mission positions in the church. And as a branch president right now, I see the experiences that I got on my mission were actually preparing me for the leadership positions now I currently hold. I'm married, and I see why it was necessary for me to gain that experience with different people, so that when I do meet my wife now, I can actually be able to maneuver and be able to make decisions that I learned as a companion on mission, right? I got to live with strangers, and I got to get to know these strangers who will then become my friends. And now I have a friend that I can call my companion for eternity. And no, I did not marry the girl that waited for me, because when I came back from my mission, we were two different people. Our desires and our goals were totally different, so we could not match and gel. And so we had to go our separate ways, right? Um, and we mutually agreed on that. And so, yeah. So that was my mission, man. But I testify to anyone that might be looking to serve a mission, best time of your life. You get the best training of your life. No university will teach you. No religious studies you can do will teach you more than a full-time mission. I got my spiritual training. I felt closer to heaven, closer to my heavenly Father when I was on mission than any other time. And to this day, I seek that same feeling of feeling close to heaven as I did then. And so, if anyone is wishing to go serve a mission, doesn't know how, I promise you, just do it. You will gain a lot of experience. Some people go without having a desire, and that desire develops over time because of the experiences that happen. And some experiences are bad, but any experience you get on mission will teach you and will help you. And I must say, a missionary is a human being. Sometimes we put missionaries on a pedestal of these people are perfect. No, those are imperfect people that have been called by God. They will make mistakes, and sadly, some missionaries don't finish their missions because of the mistakes they make. A missionary is not supposed to sleep with girls, not have a girlfriend, drink, party. There's a lot of restrictions, I would say, but those restrictions, they actually help us focus on the work that we're actually called to do. Not to say that we're not supposed to have fun, but there's a time and a place for everything. And on mission field, there's no time to have fun. You can have fun. A mission is fun, but the fun of drinking, going partying, no, that's not the fun we have. The fun we have is seeing people change. The fun is us experiencing new things in this different environment that we are used to. That's the fun that we actually have. Talking to different people that you've never met, making friends that you thought you'd never have. making connections. That's the fun. You know, and the best fun is the fact that you get to get closer to Heavenly Father and His Son Jesus Christ more than any time you would have. Okay, so I do testify to you that I know my mission was a blessing for me and my family, and will be a blessing for you and your family. And unfortunately, if you are unable to serve a full time mission, that doesn't mean you can't serve a mission. There are things called service missions that people can do. You serve in your local area and you get to be called as a service missionary. And you have specific duties that are different from full time missionaries but just as impactful. Okay. So it's never when it comes to serving a mission. You can still serve a mission. Some people go for companionship, senior missions for senior people. Once the kids are adults out of high school, you can then with your spouse go and serve a full-time mission. Um, you can be called to serve as a mission president. There are different missions. Some missions are specifically temple president, assistant temple worker. There's different experiences that we can have in the church, and that's the beauty. We get to experience all these things, and if the Lord wills it, you can serve as a area 70, area general authority. Who knows, man? But for me, that's it for my message and my experience with my mission, and I do share these things, knowing them to be true, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. So now, let's go back to these planners. So my first planner, now I'll do a separate video on these planners. Adios, amigos. Thank you. Please remember to like, subscribe, tune on those notifications, turn on those notifications, and tell everyone there's Thandile on YouTube, who has an amazing channel called The Destination Show, also available on Spotify. Thank you. Subscribe to your boy.